Hi, I'm Cannon Lafferty. I'm a senior transformational consultant with Adaptivist who's worked in the DevOps space for 7 years and IT operations for 25.
And I'm Jennifer Olin, a transformational tech consultant at Adaptivist. We're here to talk to you about how to scale your DevOps strategies at a portfolio level by shifting your project mindset into a product mindset. And to do that, we're going to use Atlassian's portfolio tool, Jira Align, which allows you to visualize this transformation.
Your interest in this topic means that you've already realized the value of agile software development and the need to grow, coordinate, and accelerate your organization's adoption of both agile and DevOps at scale.
Right. So how did we get here? How did we get to this talk, Cannon? So how we came here is that I've never worked with DevOps, despite being in the tech industry for a while. And knowing that you did, I bombarded your Slack with a million questions, which I'm sharing in this slide. So I have a product and project ops background and have mostly worked at orgs that have siloed DevOps departments into like closets, cubicles, something somewhere like where I didn't even see them. So my impression of DevOps was like it's a bunch of stressed out people running Jenkins, possibly in a closet. I'm not sure. But what I did know is that, or thought I knew, is that it didn't affect me. But man, was I wrong.
Actually, it's funny because a lot of people have that perception, and really, DevOps in practice should be everyone's concern. So it really spans a lot of different areas of expertise. And developers have a specific set of things that they need to focus on, such as testing, behavior-driven or test-driven development. And that has to be built with each part of the solution that you're trying to provide. Plus, this creates a scalable way of working with everyone doing a little more of the lift.
Right. Everyone doing a little bit more of the lift. And I didn't really realize how much of a lift was needed outside of that silo of stressed out people running Jenkins in the closet. So I made a lot of assumptions.
DevOps is a complicated mix of culture, people, processes, and tools. DevOps' main goal is to ensure that quality software gets delivered into a production environment. And then there's silos. If you want to scale, you have to break the silo or shared service model and bring DevOps agility into your product roadmap, agile release initiatives across the portfolio.
Right. And so as we talked, I then became confused about an entirely different thing is, okay, now I know what DevOps is, but why is it so hard for them to scale? Why can other departments do it? You know, I've seen it happen, but why is DevOps struggling?
I do remember when that light bulb went off for you. Scaling DevOps is not the scaling that you're used to. First, the name DevOps actually is part of the problem, and this Venn diagram really shows that. It implies divided work between developers and IT operations teams, and it implies siloed work despite the Venn diagram of the two people wrestling the circles for each other. Moreover, IT is meeting customer obligations today, and at a minimum, development needs to hit that bar of what operations is or currently doing. So because DevOps is not a specific application or application suite, it doesn't scale in the traditional way that we think about scaling upward.
So it's funny that the DevOps MasterCard Venn, as you've called it, is like it's supposed to be that infinity symbol, but it's actually just kind of like angry parents being like, you guys should play together. And the kids are like, we just don't want to.
Exactly. It's an incomplete representation of what a complete enterprise-wide DevOps strategy and mindset should resemble today. So to help with the understanding of the depth of scaling DevOps, I drew out a new Venn. So this diagram actually represents the actual adoption of agile development and delivery in an organization. The key stakeholders should have input and be made aware of what's going on to help the practice grow and be successful. And you'll see that the key stakeholders are directly adjacent to that development process, and they both span development and operations. So when we say scaling, we mean everything within the org, not some monster Jenkins instance that everyone has to go tie into.
Right. And when you showed me this, Ven, which you're an amazing artist, by the way, well done. It reminded me of a few years ago when I was sitting in my very first scaled agile class and understanding what scaling is. And then in 5.0, we got this, we got business agility. And it feels like your Ven and business agility really speak to each other. Like you guys are saying the same things with different drawings, but now scaled agile's like, hey, you got to do this.
Right. So now orgs are aware that they need to get their entire organization agile in order to scale, but it's so much easier said than done.
To quote you, everything works on a whiteboard.
Exactly. So the biggest issue is the bigger the organization, the harder the change. Enterprise decision making, sweeping mandates that don't allow teams to seek incremental improvements, forces everyone to react. The competing interests of IT and agile development. IT is a cost center that focuses on testing, performance, delivery, and stability. And agile development focuses on quick and constant changes to meet market demands. It finds IT a blocker when really IT is already meeting the needs of the customer. And then, of course, waterfall. It just won't go away, not only because it's worked in the past for IT, it's what people, especially senior leaders, understand. And again, any big upfront design or centralized solutions.
So the too long didn't read is that you have two successful groups with two different ways of working that now have to agree on one way of working.
Absolutely. And there are steps to getting them there.
So in broad strokes, what you've described is how the DevOps space can benefit from a project to product mindset, because projects are short, sporadic, disconnected work, and product is a life cycle that everyone contributes to. And DevOps is that life cycle. Yeah.
Exactly. DevOps is an end-to-end value stream, and its value stream is a life cycle. Developers need an operations mentality, and operators
Mhm.
need a development mentality. Everybody needs to be involved for it to work, but it's not for a lack of want, it's a lack of coordination.
So let's dig into that and show how this can look using Atlassian's tool, Jira Align. We chose Jira Align because it supports business agility, which we talked about, and transparency. Also talked about that. And those are the two biggest things that need to come together. And as we've discussed, that is the key to a successful DevOps strategy. So for our Jira Align demo, we have built out a company called Love Coffee, because we love coffee, which is our proof of concept we use to demo our DevOps strategy to customers. And where we are starting with Love Coffee is that they are coming up on the end of their PI with 18 days out and have DevOps baked into their roadmap. So let's take a quick tour of what that looks like. We're going to start in the product room with the work tree. In the product room with Jira Align, you can see at a glance how your DevOps epics, as well as your customer-defined epics, are performing in the current PI across the organization. Now, we set up Love Coffee's PI to reflect DevOps competencies by creating enabler epics that are needed to be completed by the Agile dev teams. And as you can see here on the slide, some programs are solely focused on finishing their enabler epics, while the program at the bottom has decided to work only on the shiny mobile thing epic. This view alerts team leaders that the non-functional requirements that the enablers are building do not look like they will be done for the next PI planning event. So this view shows the high-level work without having to get into the weeds of the individual stories and tasks. And it takes out assumption, which is the best. I'm sure that NFR is done. That assumption is now out of the mix. Now you know that enabler is not going to get done and that NFR stack will not be complete. So in short, this visual delivers amazing context for teams and management, which is a huge win for Jira Align.
I love this view because you can see the DevOps competencies that developers are working on as part of their product roadmap, which in turn means that it's transparent. So as you go into your next PI, you have visibility into what has and has not been done.
So you've heard us mention enablers and non-functional requirements, NFRs, which are specific to DevOps work. Jira Align has enabler issue types for epics and features, which is what allows DevOps work to be tracked alongside of customer-defined features.
This, in essence, allows the org to build a truly agile backlog.
Which in turn builds a truly agile roadmap. So roadmaps aren't just for understanding progress. They are a transparent message of what is currently prioritized. For purposes of not overcrowding the slide, we haven't loaded up Love Coffee for the entire year of work. We wanted you to just be able to see how the epic is aligned to a DevOps theme. For instance, take a look at the second line, which simply says LC DevOps Epic 2. It's not a great title, and it tells you very little, but we all know that these kind of epics exist. So linking epics to themes, which is usually, linking epics to themes, which is visually indicated by color, allows the roadmap viewer to understand the epic is associated with the DevOps competency of automated compliance. And then you can drill down to see the features associated with each portfolio epic. This drill down still keeps the viewer informed of the portfolio epic and theme each item is associated with, so that the full story and context of the PI are not lost. So Cannon, while working with you on this, I had another aha moment about a diagram visual that Scaled Agile shows in all of their classes, and I just didn't get it past the buzzwords, and it's this slide. Everything that you have said now makes this screenshot from Scaled Agile make sense, because they always like the maroon are the enablers and they make NFRs, and it was like, cool, I'm going to memorize that for the test, and guys in the closet are going to worry about this. And you can always find what you are looking for with filters. I especially recommend filtering when you look at your roadmap, so as to understand the context of work you're looking at, which keeps the mindset of we're all in this together front of mind. And the last thing we're going to show you today is dependency tracking, which is done via the program board. This allows all inter-team dependencies to have accountability, including DevOps initiatives. The information offered in the dependency form is robust, so it's actionable, and it's not just a passive message of, hey, did we tell that person to do the thing about the stuff? No, it's right here and you can track it. So that brings us to the end of this high-level demo. Very high level, barely scraped the top. And I feel like I could keep going. There's a lot that we could keep saying. We could talk for hours.
But I have good news, and I've always wanted to say this, but wait, there's more. Look, I know this isn't everything that I really wanted to cover, but thankfully, there will be a white paper coming out later this year that will speak in more depth and detail to the higher level of what you got here today. So we'll go over identifying specific competencies that make up DevOps, how to place that within your portfolio view, and then building a knowledge base and artifacts so you can spend less time creating and more time accelerating. But remember, this is what you can do right now. You can define your DevOps competencies to fit the work that you're currently doing, not what you think you're going to be doing or what you think you should be doing. And you can create transparent plans to let everyone see the work so that they can collaborate. And then third, iterate and learn. Don't try to solve for everything. Just try to solve for the specific solution that you're working on.
And I'm going to make sure that the phrase that sticks with me and I repeat a lot, don't boil the ocean. And that's our high-level view of scaling DevOps with Jira Align. We hope that we've inspired you to rethink how DevOps works in your organization currently.
And look for our white paper later on this year.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We really are so glad you stopped by.
Thank you.